This is the Know Nothing Show with Steve and Eric.
Get ready for the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Only the beautiful people tune in to see the shenanigans of Steve and Eric. It is the Know Nothing Show. Yeah, we had a little time off because we were in Orange and cleaning freeways. So what's on tap for tonight? We've got the team, or I should say the time person of the year. We don't care. Some funeral homes, Cumulus. Don't know what that is. An Xmas party. You know, is it Christmas? Is it holiday season? What the hell do we call it? Laws. We must revisit them. NASA, college jobs, and everything else that's going on. I'm Steve Benz. He is Eric Black. Eric, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm well. There was a much needed rest. I think I just woke up from the last show we did 2 weeks ago. So that's good. But I did. I got some rest. I'm well drunk. I'm hydrated.
It's medicine, my friend. It's medicine. Right?
Yeah.
So we do that. Yeah, we did have 2 weeks off, and our ratings went up.
Which is weird.
Explain that one. Okay, so there's reruns out there, and people are going or asking me, "My God, you guys are so live and so funny." I'm like, "Yes,
yes,
yeah."
Yes.
Those are our listeners.
Yeah, and we love them.
If you didn't know, we are up on Facebook Live right now. Yeah, mano y mano. I'm here. He's there. He's there. I'm here.
Mm-hmm. 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 And if you're not familiar with our Facebook situation, it's you just Know Nothing Show. That's all you, or you can just go to our website, knownothing.show.com, and find out all the information.
So we're like everywhere. We're from coast to coast, north, south. We're across the pond in the UK, and people are like going, "Those damn Americans."
Yep.
Damn Americans. So what'd you do with your time off before we jump in tonight's subject? So what'd you do? Did you do fun?
Half of the stuff that I did, I cannot talk about. It's inappropriate. The other half, we'll kind of get into. There's a lot of stuff that I'm doing behind the scenes for the show. We're getting more of the merch situation up and running and all that good stuff. There's some social media things that I'm trying to do. There's some promos that I'm trying to do. So the 2 weeks that we had off I didn't do any of that. I'm just saying I'm trying to do that. I'm not going to do it. I'm just saying I have good expectations, and it'll happen someday. Someday we'll have an intern. They'll come in and we'll get to yell at them for not doing it, and it'll be good.
Yeah. Kind of goes with the song "Someday, Some Way." We were trying to promote our Christmas album.
Yeah, I noticed that our ratings just went down for some reason.
No,
weird.
Are you kidding me? This is the no pants episode. So, ladies, drop them in now. Guys, take your tops off. We'd like to see breasts.
That's right. Big old hairy boobies.
Now, we did say earlier, now that we've gone 2 hours, we've gone absolutely legit with all of this. So some of the stations that play the show were thrown off. They're going, wait a second, it's 2 hours of nonstop stuff with you guys.
Right.
What part did you understand when we said we're going 2 hours?
2 hours. It's 2 now. Yeah.
They went, first, you're blowing my mind. 60 minutes has? And then it became 90.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of like, okay, so it's like 120 now. They're like, oh my God, that sounds like so long. So that means you guys are on for 4 hours?
Yeah. And we said yes. Yes, because we get paid by the hour. So we just said yes, and they are paying us for 4 hours.
And we will definitely talk about the radio stations that are carrying this. Not to suggest that they're all Cumulus stations.
It's going to be a good conversation, but it's also going to be a sad conversation.
Yeah, because those are the stations that can afford us.
Yeah, it's true. Apples are not the same price they were 10 years ago.
No, they're not. So the first subject that we have to, it's just not going away, this subject matter. Now, we've talked about it a couple of times. The harassment that is going on in multimedia, like everywhere.
Everywhere.
You can't blow on someone, and I didn't mean that suggestively. Right there. Flipped it right in there without someone screaming about sexual harassment. So I think the biggest a-hole ever on NBC got caught.
No.
And it was on video, live broadcast. Matt the Man. I would just say Matt the Man. Okay, the myth. Got the boot.
The booty. No, he didn't get the booty. He got kicked, eliminated.
Now, with that, what was kind of interesting was that when the allegations came through, and I guess it was some sort of long memo, I didn't know people wrote memos.
I'm confused at what the difference is between a memo and an email. Is this you just now you started an email, then you printed it? I don't know what I'm confused.
So I guess from the stories that I read, and that's not to suggest that I can read anything. I'm an American, okay?
That's true.
The 5th grade education.
That's nice.
With that, apparently, all it was written out with video support. And with that, Matt got the boot like the morning of, he comes into work, he's eating himself a favorite donut, he's having some type of latte. And they said, Matt, my man, your madness is no longer required.
Yeah.
And the women on air were like broken up over all of it. Shocked. I would say. Now, did you have any feelings? Did you see that live broadcast when it happened? Probably not. I'm sure you were sleeping.
Yeah, I don't wake up for much. There's got to be 3 or 4 zeros on the end of that paycheck before I get up. Here's the thing. So I watched a little movie called Land of the Lost, and there's a phrase in there that says Matt Lauer can suck it, and that pretty much sums up my views on the matter.
But it does send a tailspin for all of the top people at the major networks.
Well, and I think obviously he's not going to be the last one. There's a lot of theories on this, which we might get into here in a second, but he's one of many, one of probably hundreds that are going to go down. So most of them we don't even get to hear. They're just either low level, local TV, whatever. But there is something is happening right now that is causing all of this to just be chaotic. And now you'll notice that most of these people are in some sort of media position. That whether it's whether it's news, whether it's movies, TV, whatever. Danny Masterson from That 70s Show and also from The Ranch now. Yeah. He just was accused of sexual harassment. He denies it completely, but he's not immune to that either. I mean, you're going to start seeing more and more people that are being accused of this, whether they're right or wrong. It sucks because it's going to ruin their career. Now, if they're actually in the wrong, well then.
We're still a society of you're innocent until proven guilty. Are we not?
We are not. I don't remember the last
because of hearsay.
Because of hearsay. That's exactly where we're at right now. If somebody in the media, if somebody has printed this or posted it online on social media or on some random website, TMZ, for example, it's true. It's now. There used to actually be a thing called journalism. For those of you that don't understand what journalism is, just Google it. Hopefully Google is still accurate in what that definition is. Now it's, we just need to get it out there. We'll retract it later if it's wrong, and we'll do we'll deal with that. We'll damage control that later. But we need to be the first ones to get it out just in case it is true, instead of actually researching this stuff and finding out if it's legit, if it's true. I notice what I said there. I said legit because the Know Nothing show is legit, ladies and gentlemen. We give you only the best. I'm not going to say it's accurate. I'm not going to say it's true. I'm just going to say it's legit. That's all I'm going to say.
That's right. Because, when I was a journalism major, right, and all that, we had to have 3 sources.
Yeah.
Okay. For a show like this, we just need 3 seconds to spit it out.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Right. We just need 3 Google pages open.
Now, let's face it, the internet, we're blaming everything on the internet, but the 24/7 news source, let's face it, any story survives 24 hours. That's it. It's like, what else? What else can we consume? We are consumers. We are Americans. We get fat on all of this. Like the Kardashians. Hello, it started because she did a video and it posted and then wanted money for it. Hello, that's how Kim Kardashian came about.
Yeah, but we do that and we get arrested for it.
That's wrong.
It's not right.
If you and I came out with a sex fit, no, wait, I didn't mean to imply that.
Well, that's a different.
Let me correct that.
Yeah, that's a whole other show and a whole different network and a whole other country.
That gets us the after dark after dark show.
That's the sequel to the After Dark show. Much like the other movie that came out, the Darker of the Dark. I think we all know what I'm talking about here. Now,
like stripes and stuff. But I'm just saying, I agree with you. It's coming out. The power people in media are being attacked.
Yep.
Okay. No proof. And yes, some of them came out and said, yes, I did it. I'm in a power position. I'm still surprised. And I don't think any men are going to come out and accuse the women of it because they would be considered weak.
Right. There was a musician, and I didn't know who it was. It was a chick musician that was accused of sexual harassment the other day. I saw that on online, so I obviously know it is 100% true. And now that I'm saying it on this media outlet, you have to know that it is 100% accurate and true because we're telling you.
Now, you did say a chick musician. I'm just saying that. So if people are going to start writing in, he said it, not I, me, holy God. Okay.
Sure.
I'm just trying to say, I wouldn't call a female musician a chick musician. I don't care if she plays harmonica. Okay.
The toe symbol. Yeah.
That's great with her lips. I'm not saying that.
Well,
that she knows how to blow. Okay. I'm not saying any of that.
She's a good trumpeter. She played the trumpet.
I did try playing trumpet once. That was like hilarious.
So I have now. This is. I've been looking at some of these theories because I need entertainment in my life, and I will be buying all 4 seasons of the Trump administration. It's going to be fantastic. I'm excited about it. It's going to be released, I think, in next year. But here's one of the theories as to why all of this is happening in Hollywood. All of these people are being accused. All of this is going down. I like this one. This is something that I could believe if I believed in theories. Mm-hmm. Now, the deal is that when this whole charade started happening with Hillary Clinton and Trump doing all of their campaigning and doing all of this stuff and cahooting with the Russians, apparently all this, whatever. Well, obviously Hillary didn't win. So now she's a little butthurt about it, and because she thought it was a landslide. She thought, I got this, everything is good. Whatever happened. We don't know. Maybe it was rigged, maybe it wasn't. We have no idea. It doesn't matter for this particular situation. The theory is all of the media was actually on her. Well, not all of the media, but most of the media was on her side.
I agree.
Very, very biased, very one-sided. Which, whatever, it's fine. But now that she has not won, a lot of these people, a lot of these news outlets and celebrities are now coming out against her and saying that this was not good. This was not a good option. Some of them are actually saying I was wrong. Most of them are dancing around that or skirting around that, just coming out but saying this is not a good thing. So the theory is that she is now taking out all of the people systematically that have dissed her in the past or in this past campaign So she's blackmailing them, essentially saying, "This is happening to you right now. Now you have to actually just say yes, this was you, or we're going to do something worse." That's the newest theory.
That is a stretch.
Okay. Is it? Is it?
Now, 2 years ago, I was recorded saying Hillary, or even further back, Hillary will never be president because the women don't like her.
Right.
It's the women that don't like her. Now, I would have expected that we would have had, like if Elizabeth Dole would have run years ago, she probably would have been president eventually instead of her old man. And there's quite a few other great women leaders, female leaders, that could run this companies. And essentially, America isn't a company. And that's how you run it.
It is a company. Yep.
Because as our Constitution tested, all of the Americans seem to flunk out on, the president only has so much power.
Right.
There's a couple of things that, even we worry about Trump doing, he can't do without approval. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if you go back on information, Republican information, now I'm going to drop some knowledge on you right now.
Oh, here we go.
So the Republicans are talking about the trickle down theory. That's what they believe in. The Republicans, okay? Didn't work. It's not going to work with Trump. Mm-hmm. They tried it with Reaganomics. They put some ugly ass lipstick on it.
Mm-hmm.
They said trickle down. That's Reaganomics. Didn't work. People are like, oh yes, Reagan, who had Alzheimer's. Okay,
right.
People won't agree to that, but he did. And now you go back to the 60s with President Johnson, who was quoted to say, trickle down is what the Republicans want. It doesn't work. It didn't work in the 50s, and it's never worked. So here we've jumped generations. We're still in the same boat. Hello.
Well, and that's the thing. Apparently, we haven't learned any type of lesson with this, and I think that's one of the biggest things we need to figure out is what's actually going on here. It's like we've copy and pasted what we've said previously, but you have to figure out what's going on. You have to figure out what's this hand doing over here, because this hand over here is doing something we can't see. So this hand is distracting.
Right, show both hands. That's all we're asking for. Okay.
No, you don't. No, you see it. No,
it has
you don't.
To me, it has to start at the state level. Okay. State level with term limits. Okay. We have 80-year-old men in Congress and Senate.
Right.
Okay. How could they tell any of us in the 30s and 40s and 50s on how to live life when it's like, oh, let's see here. You've got a pretty damn good golden parachute, old man.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can only stay for 2 terms or 3 terms or whatever it is, you'll get your job done. And let's see here. You don't get 100% of your paycheck for the rest of your life, old man and old lady. You don't get that.
Yeah, which is one of the contributing factors as to why this country is $3 or $4 or $5 trillion in debt now. Now it's diminishing now, but that's a decent amount of money, and we're still
paying for stuff that for the 1920s. Okay.
Yeah. Yep,
can we just cut that out of their budget? You mind? Okay.
Right. Stop it.
I'm not comfortable with paying farmers not to grow food. Okay.
Which has actually legitimately happened. The government has paid farmers to not farm. To not do it.
Yeah, please do not plant corn over there 20% of all your acreage.
Right.
And I realize we could feed the world. We are the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the song Band-Aid was all about. Why can't we feed everybody?
Well,
that's all it is. It's Christmas time. Makes me weep. 2 weeks off. That's what it's done. It's made me an emotional wreck.
Well, that and the estrogen, I guess that's probably.
and the weekend in prison. Well, I was teaching people to read.
In prison.
What I was doing.
Doesn't matter if it was a Kama Sutra. I was still teaching them to read. It's fine.
Thank God. Well, we're up against our first break already. So we're going to take a break. We have to decide what we're going to talk about next, because that alone, what we talk about, just gets me fired up each time.
Yeah, it does.
So stay tuned for more. He's Eric. I'm Steve. This is the Know Nothing Show. We'll be right back. It is Hell's Bells, the Know Nothing Show. Steve, Benz, Eric Black, two dudes, two delicious scoops of radio. Now, I wanted to play that instead of our intro because the world is going to hell right now. I think that's what's happening. It's the craziness that continues on around here. So we were just talking about Matt the Man, the government, and everything else that is going on. And before we went on air, Eric and I were talking about laws. Now, we talked about laws a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember if it was how many shows ago, because they're all a blur right now. It's one show goes into the next, essentially.
Yeah.
So with that, I know that you wanted to revisit something about laws in general. I think this is the perfect time to talk about that. So go ahead, my man. You have the microphone.
Well, and again, you know, it's something that has been said before. It's something that I'm just not satisfied. I didn't get an actual real answer yet, and I've been soul searching the entire time from the last time I said this, probably a month ago. But the question is, or the questions are, again, is it morally responsible? Is it a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws? And then the second part of that is what justifies an unjust law? Because to me, that could be something completely different than it is for Steve, than it is for you, than it is for him or her. It could be completely different. Now, we are governed. We do have a set of laws that we have to abide by, that we are supposed to abide by.
Right.
But what if there's a law that maybe you, as a person, as a humanitarian, as a spiritual person, a religious person, you feel like that is not something that you can believe in, that you can actually uphold? How do you go about going around that? What do you do? Do you not follow it? Because there are going to be consequences if you don't follow the laws of the land.
Mm-hmm.
Jail, fines, death in some cases, potentially, depending on what law you're breaking. I mean, is it a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws? And what justifies an unjust law?
And with that, would majority rule, since we're a democracy?
Well, but even more so for an individual person to, it's probably much easier for an individual person to say, I don't agree with that, I'm not going to follow that. But if there is a large group, as you just stated, if there's a large group of people that say these laws, this law is not, I can't follow. We as a group, let's say it's a religious group. We as a religious group, we can't follow this law because it's not. It goes against our belief system. It goes against everything that we are, everything that we believe in. So obviously there are steps you can take to change that law. You can get a hold of your congressman, your senator, whatever it is, whoever's the right person to do that. Mm-hmm. But if they don't do that, if the law doesn't actually change in your favor, how do you manage that? How do you get around that?
There's a great point. Okay, so the law doesn't change in your favor. Are you going to just hold your breath until they change it? Are you going to cry because you didn't get it your way? Are you going to roll on the floor like my daughter and my son when they were little because like, wait, I need a nap, and I'm going to post it on Twitter until you pay attention to me?
First of all, I've been to some of the meetings with you, and that's all too familiar.
Hey, look, it works.
It does work.
Don't make me pull out my phone and tweet against you, okay? But even what you're bringing up, you know how hard it is? It's here's a great law that's out there, like welfare, okay? The lines are drawn very deeply on how that should work. The idea behind welfare was to help, just like unemployment. People are like, You're just taking advantage of it until you're unemployed and you need the money.
And you need it, yeah.
It's like, I need it to survive, or my government cheese, or whatever it is. Yes, of course, people are going to abuse anything and everything that they can.
Yeah.
But the majority do not. Like Social Security. All right, now we're doing a little history lesson again. So you go back in the, Social Security started in the 40s. I think it was the 40s, after the Depression, to help people stand.
Yep.
The middle class, help people stand. And then here came trickle-down theory right behind it.
Trickle-down. Yeah.
some people would say welfare. I can't support welfare morally. I just can't do that. Would that be a good example of something that you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's not always cut and dry, but welfare is something that is incredibly abused in this
Right.
in this particular time. Incredibly abused. I know people right now that are abusing it. I also know people that still have it. They don't use it. They actually forgot about it. They realize that they had access to it because if you have a certain income, you're supposed to cancel it. You're supposed to call in, go in, whatever, and get rid of it. And they realized that they were in the wrong, so they went in and said, "I can't do this anymore." They didn't use it because they didn't need it, but they still had it, which means, according to the government, they were still involved in it. So now I don't think I didn't know what happened past that, but I don't think anything happened. I think everything was fine because they didn't use it. But if you were to use it and you didn't need to use it, I mean, I think that's kind of just a slap in the face of everybody else that actually does need you. There are people in this country that actually legitimately need to use welfare, Medicaid, all that good stuff that's actually available. There's actual people that actually need that are trying to get jobs, that are trying to make it, that are trying to do this stuff, and they just simply cannot. In the current situation that they're in, they need this.
Right. So there's only a few that make it worse for everybody else. Kind of like when you're in high school. There's just like, God, I hate high school because there's one or two people that drove you psycho because they were the little bitchy chicks or whatever dudes, right? Then you go, oh, my time in high school was just so bad.
Right.
But for the most part, people are good. Now, the only change with welfare that I've brought up in the past is, why can't they work for the government for the check? I think you would feel better if you put in your 10 hours and whatever it is. When I was unemployed, I would have been happy to pick up trash. It's like, great, I got 10 hours. It gives me something to do that I don't have to think about this. At least I feel like I earned my unemployment after I got laid off or fired from the 7th radio station that I worked for,
Yeah.
Because they went, you know what, Steve, we're going classic. And I'm like going, great, classic. I'm like, classic rock? No, we meant classical. So you're out. I'm like, what? We're doing what?
Spin some Bach for me. Spin that.
What?
No.
But morals is a problem that all Americans stand on. Like, I'm not doing this over morals and all. I haven't heard so much crap in my life. Okay. Right. Just like we hide behind religion.
Yep.
Okay. We hide behind religion. Like, that just makes me a better person because I'm Christian or whatever it is. Talk about a whole lot of crap.
Yeah. And just for the record, I am a Christian and I'm not that great of a person. I'm not.
There you go. What about the person that goes, which drove me psycho and still drives me psycho? God has the way for me. He always knows. He does things that's great because he has a plan for me. Wait a second. We just, like, California is a great example. The mother is burning down. Okay. So is that God just like, oh, you know what? We should just burn down 250 houses because then people can find the way.
Right.
Hello? How is that true? Where's the moral in that?
Right. Sometimes in life, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but sometimes in life, shit happens. Things happen. Nature happens. Actually, the fires were probably caused by somebody smoking in the forest, but nonetheless, it happens. And it's actually not so much in this case, but in some cases, it's actually a good thing because it replenishes the earth. Now, unfortunately, there are a stupid amount of houses and property that have been damaged. That's never good. And people as well, never good. But hopefully there's some good that comes out of this. Hopefully there's something, that people maybe can start over. I know that a lot of the stuff has been lost. I understand that. I get that. I've been through that. But that doesn't, I don't know. I don't want people to use that as an excuse to be an a-hole.
You got the Southern Baptists saying God is trying to burn out all the crazies in California.
Maybe. Maybe.
Underlining all this, Oprah still loves bread. Okay.
Well, that's fair.
You've got people that are unbelievably rich and like, I don't need to, let me make sure that before I do any donation, I've got 18 cameras around me so you can see that I'm doing my donate. I'm working here for the homeless.
Right.
And they got one scoop of, soup take your pictures. Great. I'm out of here.
Yep. See ya. See ya. I've actually been associated with people like that. I've actually worked with and for people exactly like that. Being that I do video editing, I do photography, I do all of these things. I was in Hollywood, I was in LA for 2 years. You were much longer than I was. You've been around these people. These people, I can't say. I was brought up if you can't say anything good about somebody, don't say anything at all. So I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah,
because there's nothing good to say about them. They're horrible people, and they have their special place in hell. So,
and a lot of them are big stars.
Yeah,
that maybe came from nothing, and it's like, what happened to you? What happened? I sit there and here. All right. Well, no, I'll talk about that in the second hour. We're gonna drag people to 2 hours out of all of it. So remember, it's 2 hours. Where people are like going, "Oh man, they're gonna just pack it up in 60 minutes." No, we got 120 to screw with y'all. Okay.
We're being paid for 4.
But even all of that, you've got the California's trying to split up again, trying to secede. They could take freaking Texas with them. Okay.
Yeah.
And a couple other places. You could just take it with you. All right. Just connect with freaking Mexico and get out. But I liked California. I thought it was kind of cool out there because everybody was a transplant. The one thing that got me in California is people were just weird just because they thought they were supposed to be weird in California.
Right.
Explain that one.
Well, here's the other thing too. For those of you that have not hung out at all in Hollywood, those people are actually weird because those people are on massive amounts of drugs. Yeah. I don't know if I'd call it a privilege, but I hung out in Hollywood because that's where some of the events were happening. I had some friends in Hollywood, and weird. Now there are some good people in Hollywood. I'm not going to say there's not, but for the most part, in my experience, weirdos, just crazy freaking people in Hollywood, all over the place.
But it's not just Hollywood.
No.
Okay. I met just as many whacked out people in Florida, Texas, New York City, Detroit,
Iowa.
Right. You smell all that manure in Iowa. What the?
Mm-hmm.
That is boring. But it's everywhere. For us to say, even your morals issue that you brought up, it's everywhere. It's freaking everywhere. And everybody's hiding behind all this other stuff. We don't want to show who we really are. We don't really want to talk about what we really think. A lot of people just spit out what they heard somewhere else, or maybe they read, or they saw a tweet. We're still, I sent out a tweet to Kaepernick going, bro, when are you going to talk? Come on here anytime you want. And then, he's getting all these awards. It still doesn't talk.
Yeah. Let's have a conversation. It doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be one-sided. Let's sit down. Let's have a conversation. We can even turn off the cameras. We can turn off the mics. Let's sit down on the couch and have a simple freaking conversation.
Yep. And anybody that goes religious on us, okay, come on. Come talk to us. Right. Tell me all your beliefs so I can ask questions about it. Defend your damn position with me. That's all that I ask.
And this is what I like about this show. This is the whole point of this show, is that we actually say how we feel. This is me. This is how I feel. If anybody actually know me personally, I apologize, first of all.
Okay. I just want to say
it's horrible. I don't hold back. If you ask me a question and you want to know the answer, be prepared for that actual answer. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to come over there and be like, "Oh, no, it's not going to happen." I'm going to tell you straight up, this is how it is.
I don't know. I've seen that. When I took you to see Daryl Hall and John Oates, you were like, all of a sudden you were like a weepy little bitch. Okay. I'm just saying.
They didn't have pants on. And that to me is a weakness. I couldn't hang.
You're like, oh my God, it's Daryl Hall. It was embarrassing.
That's right. It's a fanboy type situation.
Okay. You're like, could you sing just a little bit of Maneater right now? And he's going, where is security?
Right. And he did it. But he was like, you're going to freak out if I don't, and I don't know where security is, so I better do it. And he did like 30 seconds of it, and then security plowed me. Probably a poor choice of phrasing there. But anyway.
But you did drag me to the front, of the stage, too. It's embarrassing. I already had VIP tickets. We didn't need to push people out of the way. It was unnecessary.
Well, we kind of did. I was trying to bring back mosh pits. I thought we were at a different concert. I was completely different, and you're like, no, this is Hall & Oates. And I was like, oh, well, we probably shouldn't. We shouldn't.
It's metal.
It's metal 80s music, man, from Daryl Hall and John Oates, man. Come on.
Yeah, you were actually talking about the camera structure that the camera was sitting on. It's metal. That's a metal structure because I was leaning against. I thought you were talking about the show. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know what. Somebody told me, "Hey, show up here," and I said, "All right, cool." I showed up there, and you were there, and that was it. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know.
It happens. It happens. So we got to work out this laws thing, the morals and stuff. I think you and I should go on a show and just be the judge of the laws.
Ooh, the judges. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, we could be syndicated everywhere. You know, when you come into the Know Nothing courtroom, you better be ready to defend.
It'll be good. It'll be great.
Here's Heather. She is a prostitute from downtown Hollywood. She steps in front of the judge, Eric Black.
And then you peek up right behind my chair. You're like, hello. It's weird.
Eric, she asking about gummy cheese. You know, gummy cheese. You know, is it morally okay for her to get extra gummy cheese?
Gummy cheese.
Which is an odd thing to be giving people welfare, is cheese.
It is. Oh, well, you guys are not doing so hot on the money. I know you're trying. Let's see. How can we help you? Let's do money. No. That's not housing. Maybe later. Oh, cheese. Everybody loves cheese. Let's give them some cheese. That's a great idea. And that's
right. And it's not singles. It's a block.
It's a freaking block. You have to create your own singles. It's kind of like when you're going to a strip club. If you're bringing a 20, that ain't gonna fly.
You can't ask Heather to bring a 20. No. You want?
I see you got all those dollars in your strap there. Can I go ahead and just get this 50 a broke? Can I? No? Okay. All right.
Can you break a 50 for a guy?
Why can you? Yeah. Might not work very well.
That's actually pretty funny.
You know what? If no one else laughs at this show, at least we can laugh at this show. And I think that's really
gong here. You know, the SVU gong. I do like the judges show, Judge Eric and Judge Steve.
Too the judges.
I like that. And and if they go into your courtroom first, I then could be the appellate judge because we know everything.
I think our courtrooms should be literally right next to each other and no dividing wall. So our courtrooms will overlap. We'll be arguing. You and I will actually sometimes argue during cases because I'll be overhearing what you're going through over there, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, my case. I got to go over here to Steve's case and figure out what's happening here because he's really messing this up. And then you'll be like, I'm not messing this up. This is all mine. This is all good. And and then we'll just end up the show is messed up and we're all messed up and the case doesn't go anywhere. It has to bleed into next week and it'll be good. I like it.
Right. And I do think we need to have product placement on our show because she had such a dirty mouth. We're brought to you by Tide.
Right. And the attorney brought in one of our sponsors, Tampex, because they pulled some strings and got their client released.
Because Tampex picks up teardrops much better than anything else.
Right. And nosebleeds, by the way.
It's disgusting. We're up against our next block of sponsors again. Listen, make sure you go out to the store. You get everything that sponsors this show. It is another thing you get. The Know Nothing Show. Boy, that did not sound good.
That's good. That's great. We'll use that.
There. I'm here. 2 dudes, 2 scoops of delicious radio. We'll be right back. It is the Know Nothing Show. Steve Benz, Eric Black. 2 dudes, 2 mics, 2 locations. The mind melts. We've got 2 ideas, but we always come up with one thing. Again, it sounded better in my head during the break. I know.
Jerry's texting me right now. He's like, what are you guys doing? I don't know. No idea.
If we knew, we'd be bigger and we'd be on The Voice or something like that, or Fox Networks, which we might be. We're not really sure.
Going to CNN, baby. Yeah.
So we've talked about so many different things today, and I'm sure people are going to have a lot of questions for us. So I want you to drop some knowledge on the social media. So we will continue the discussion anywhere, anytime on our web pages and stuff. So,
well, and just to clarify, the questions are great, but we're not counselors. We don't actually care. We can help you. We just probably choose not to. Anyway, social media, you can find us. You can go to knownothingshow.com, find out everything I'm about to tell you, but because I like redundancy, I'm going to go ahead and tell you anyway. Facebook, you got Twitter, and you have the YouTube situation. Know Nothing Show, you can go do that, find us over there. But again, all of that is available on our website, knownothingshow.com. You can shoot us over an email, knownothingboys@gmail.com. That's right, we use Gmail because Gmail powers the Know Nothing Show.
I like that. It's our new sponsor. I like
right.
that. Didn't they sign the paperwork? Aren't they our sponsor now?
They better. I just said something to them, and I got a check right here, so they better.
Cool. Plus, it's Christmas time, so you can get some Know Nothing merch. It is out there. We're pushing it through the Cafe Press, and I think / Know Nothing Show. And I think the link's on the website, or is it on the Facebook page? Right.
One of the two. I don't know.
We'll get to it in about 2020 during our presidential campaign.
Yeah, when we have people working for us.
Okay, so we're going to need signatures for that.
That's right. Petitions and all that stuff. It's going to be crazy.
So all of you are going to be signing quite a few different names. I'm sorry. You'll be signing something, maybe a different name, but I didn't say that. There's no recording of this show. So
nope. It's not recorded at all for posterity at all.
Before we started the show,
yeah,
talking about jobs and stuff, and you had a lot to say about it. I, of course, was not listening. So I thought I should probably throw this to you and go, what were you talking about? Because I wasn't listening.
Right. Typical meeting. Cool. So I've been following along some of these job situations and the way the market's going and how schooling, how college affects your work situation. So, for example, you spend 4 to sometimes 8 years in college, which I think is incredibly way too long for anyone. That's really stupid. You graduate with whatever degree that you've decided to go with. And then you decide to go into the job market and say, awesome, now I have all this amazing degree. I'm going to start working for a company, work my way up, and in 5 years, I will be set. It'll be fine. It'll be good. However, we don't live in the Walgreens world. We live in this world. And for those of you that didn't get that reference, it just simply means we don't live in a perfect world. We don't live in an ideal situation. The problem is that a lot of these people that are getting these degrees, that are coming out of college, that are graduated, are not getting the jobs that they thought they were going to get. Most of them are working stupid jobs, whether it's food service, retail, or some other random crappy job, because there aren't any jobs.
Mm-hmm.
There are 0 jobs available. If they are available, they're snatched up very quickly. Now, the reason why I say that is because my belief is, and you're probably going to disagree with me. Some of you will, some of you won't. It's fine. I don't care. This is my belief, and I have the microphone right now, so you're going to listen to me. I think college, as it sits right now, is a huge scam. Why do I say that? Well, I'll explain that to you. The way that it's set up right now, now here's the deal. So maybe like 30 years ago, let's say, it cost you about $20,000, $30,000 to go to school. And I know everything was different back then. Money was different, the currency, whatever it was. Today, it's an average of about $80,000 for you to go to school. And once you graduate, again, you don't get the job. Very rarely do you actually get the job that you have gone to school to get. Because you got to understand, there are 340,000 people going to school for this degree, but there are only 420 jobs available in that particular situation. Now, on the flip side of that, let's switch over to the blue-collar market, to the trade school market, to what used to be what used to be popular is not interns. You're looking at people that would train you in a certain field. So we're talking about, we're talking about like leather makers, factories, blue collar jobs, all of these jobs, trade jobs. You have to have a skill in order to do that. Not that white collar jobs don't require a skill. It's just a lot more BS. I know because I used to work in that situation. Steve, you know as well. I think we should bring back more trades. If you're looking for a job right now, and you're just, you're working the retail gig, you're working the food service gig, and obviously you're not happy with it. You have a great degree, you spent a stupid amount of money to go to college, and you're stuck in this particular situation. You're looking in the wrong place. There are a ton of trade jobs available. Whether it's a plumber, an electrician, a factory job, a construction, there are tons of jobs available to you in those particular situations. Now, I know a lot of the people that I've talked to about this situation, they say, well, I don't feel comfortable working in that situation. I don't want to work. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be, okay, well, that's fine. But that means that you're going to be stuck in this food service or retail job for the rest of your freaking life. I know people that have master's degrees and they are managers of retail locations. That's dumb. That's really stupid. They're not, again, there are other situations. It's not always that cut and dry, but I know that this particular person is just not trying. They're very, they want to work this particular situation. They can very well work in a blue collar or a trade school situation. They can definitely do that. I know this because I've worked with them in those situations, and yet they choose to do a $20,000, $25,000 a year job as a manager at a retail location. I don't understand it. I don't get that. I don't understand college as it sits right now, because you're going to school, you're learning all of this stuff, and there's no way to apply it. There's no possibility of you getting a job. They say, well, our placements, we can place you, we can do this, we can get you jobs. And yet they don't. Or they do get you a job, but it's not the pay you want. It's not the pay that you need. And it's in a kind of a different situation. It's not the actual position that you thought you could be in. It's kind of the same. It's in the same, maybe the same vein, but it's not what you wanted. So what I'm saying is, I think we need to go back to the basics. I mean, the college in itself, I think, is a scam. I think there's a lot of things that are wrong with colleges. I think there's a lot of schooling in general. I've never been a fan of school. I think it's, I wouldn't say a total waste of time, but it's a decent sized waste of time. There are a lot of things that could be taught. There are a lot of things that aren't taught. For example, instead of going to PE, maybe teach financing, maybe teach real world crap, maybe teach, hey, this is how you balance a check. This is how you can save money. This is how you can invest in stocks, in bonds, in subsidies, and all of this stuff. This is how you can actually make money. This is how this works. So in short, I'm not a fan of college. I'm not a fan of school. I think it's a waste of time. In most cases, now there are some cases that you actually need to go to school. It's a good situation. But for the most part, I think it's a huge waste of time.
Now, I completely disagree with you on that. Okay, completely different. Now, I see some of the issues being Molly, whose dad is very successful, who has a $60,000 car when she turns 16, doesn't know what she's doing, so she's wasting time with college because she has nowhere where she's going to go. She's going to get herself a worthless liberal arts degree, which only puts you in sales. That's all that does.
Right.
But as you know, in let's say the computer industry, you can't get anywhere unless you have a degree. And frankly, if you don't have a master's, you're going nowhere when it comes to technology. Okay.
But I also think that that's unacceptable. I think you can still be on the job. And in an apprenticeship situation, you can learn on the jobs. That is the most I have learned was not from school. It was being in the job, on the job, learning in that particular situation.
Right. So we're now, I think you and I will probably agree that We need more opportunity for the kids that don't want to go to college, don't have maybe the knowledge, or maybe don't have the upbringing, right? Inner city. There's no how is an inner city kid, unless they can play basketball and they're one and done, they're probably not going to get out of the inner city.
Right.
And now, the one thing now,
just to clarify, that's not a slam. That's not a slam. That's just how it is. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. Not slamming on people. That's just how it is.
Now, here in Chicago, what I really like, and I also like what President Obama had done, was why can't we finance the kids going through 2-year colleges or trade schools? Why can't we do that to help them? Because you're seeing here in suburbia, the parents like me, we can't send our kids through 4-year college because the first 2 years, they're not sure what they're doing. So now the junior colleges are packed with people.
Right.
You know, at half the dollar amount. So you could figure out what it's going to take. The 20-somethings, including my son, didn't do anything in 4 years. It's probably going to take him 8 and stuff, because that's how they see the world.
Right.
Versus when I was growing up, it was like, no, man, get your ass in college, get yourself a good job, get yourself a corporate job. And, I wanted to kill myself, but I needed the education. And I would totally agree with you. And we talked about that. Why aren't they teaching how to balance a damn checkbook? But now it's run by an app. How is that going to work?
Yeah.
So where technology helps us and hurts us. And then technology removes, if you walk into, like I had Sears come out and fix my dryer.
Mm-hmm.
The guy just plugged it into a damn computer. Okay.
Yep.
He didn't know how to do anything but swap out parts. He didn't fix it. He just swapped out parts. He left. It didn't work 3 days later. I'm like, dude, you didn't fix it. So he just swapped out. He's like, oh, man, we just swap out parts, man. We just take out the card and put it in. We don't know how to actually fix anything, like cars. Go into a dealership. They don't know how to fix a car. They plug it in. They've got a degree or whatever. And it could be from Honda or whatever. You got to have some type of schooling to learn how to do that. But I would agree with you and disagree with you at the same time. I think we could take care of both models at the same time and cut out like pork bellies from the budget.
I think there's going to be a total, complete overhaul of the schooling system. They're half the crap. No. 3/4 of the crap that I've learned. And I had the chance to go to a state school, to go to a university. And I chose to actually, because of the situation that I was in, and I'll explain it in a minute, I chose to go to a community college. Now, one, that was because of finances at the time. There was a situation happening. We weren't prepared for it. It just happened. And I was like, I could have gone to a university. I could have gone to state school, whatever. But because apparently at one point in my life, I wasn't a dick, I chose to do that. I chose to go to a community college. And I'm going to say this. I loved it. I think that now, as far as school goes, I hate school. I don't do well in school at all. I don't do that whole environment.
But that could be because of the teachers and stuff, because they didn't reach out. Tenured teachers drive me effing crazy. I know enough tenured teachers in Los Angeles that are going to make $125,000 to the day they die because they got the tenure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's just like being a congressman where you can't kick his ass out.
Right.
You got to earn it every year. Why not? You're asking the kids to do it. You're asking us to do it. Why can't we all do that?
Well, and I think tenure, that's a poor excuse, because now, much like the senators, much like those people that are in our government for way too freaking long, they're getting complacent. They're getting stuck in their ways, and they just don't care anymore. They're just going through the motions, which is not helping anything. It's actually hurting the system. And I think that's the same thing with college, the same thing with schooling, all across the board. There just needs to be a whole complete overhaul. And I don't know, maybe I just have a complete bias, but I think we need to get back to the basics and say, okay, well, this, schooling is in itself. Some sort of schooling needs to happen. I'm not against schooling as schooling goes, as a definition of schooling. But in the current situation that it's in, I can't be okay with that. I don't agree with most of the things that are happening. Most of the things that I was taught, I think were a complete waste of time. Why would I need to do calculus? Why would I ever? Did you see my grade point average? What in your situation led you to believe that I would be needing to do calculus ever in my entire life.
And they could have taught you something else because right brain, left brain, calculus wouldn't make sense to you. But if I put you in something else, that would make more sense, where you would be able to have more electives at a school.
Exactly. And when I finally did get to have those electives, I had to go through 3 different high schools in order to get any type of elective. But by the time I did get to the third school, there was great electives. There was automotive class, there was working class, and those I excelled in. The other classes like math is beyond me. I can add, and that's about all. That's about all I can do. Hence the radio situation.
And I hate to interrupt you. We're at the top of the hour, so we got to break. Now, I'll come back about this because my family is a great example of what you were just talking about. Okay? Yeah. So we roll into hour 2 of the Know Nothing Show. Do not go anywhere. We will be back in 2 and 2. How do you like that? Steve and Eric, the Know Nothing Show.
Get ready for the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Rolling into hour 2 of the Know Nothing Show. Steve Benz, Eric Black. We have gone absolutely legit. We are talking about things that people didn't think we knew. And we know a lot of stuff.
Woo!
I feel better about that. And I'm full. I'm full of underpants right now. I am just saying that right now.
Woo! Now, people aren't going to understand this whole segment later on because we edit out the commercials for legal reasons. But for the moment, those are probably the best commercials I've ever heard. I like listening to those commercials.
And we get Bud Light for free. I'm just saying that, okay?
Just not that lime crap, but just regular Bud Light.
What were they thinking when they came out with Bud Light Lime and all this other stuff?
Well, you got to think though, because Corona came out. You got all these, these other. What was the other one? There's another one that came out too, and they're like, crap, we got to come out with a lime just to see if it catches on. Right. So they tried it, and it didn't catch on with the other ones either. Corona is made. I mean, it's made for limes. That just makes sense.
Corona's horrible. Okay, it's embarrassing. Guys walking around with Coronas.
If you're already drunk and in your own room, totally fine.
Now the new thing, I was just in Los Angeles, is Modelo. Everybody's walking around with Modelos.
Whoever has the marketing advantage at that point is who's popular, I think.
Maybe we need to come out with our own light beer.
Maybe.
Steve and Eric with less sarcasm and calories.
This may make you know something.
Our entire ad is have a know nothing beer and feel it later.
It'll be good. It'll be great.
All right. So before the end of the first hour there, we were talking about education, college, trades, how do we take care of the kids?
Right.
Now, I brought up my family. My family's a great example, my brothers and I. All right. So my brother, he was only 11 months younger than me, was horrible at school, just horrible at it. It is what it is. He struggled with math and some other stuff. I was a whiz kid at math. I could sit there and be asleep in the back, drooling, and I could just spit out answers. We talked about calculus. I thought calculus was like one of the easiest things ever on the planet. It's just who I was, which is kind of interesting how I turned out.
You were one of the kids that I would give wedgies to.
Yeah, but I was kind of like, I'll help you with this, and you do over that, and because, the kids that really wanted to do shop and auto stuff, which is what my brother really loved, was working on cars. Mm-hmm. Guy's a genius, okay, when it comes to cars. Right. And yet he can plug in and fix my car and goes, well, it's this. And I'm like going, dude, how do you know all this stuff? He's like, well, I opened the book, Steven.
Duh.
And that kind of works. So we should be able to help them. And schooling should be able to help us and help our kids decide where they want to go. Not everybody is made for college. Not everybody is made for trades. Not everybody is made for anything. You got to figure out your way, and your teen years, 16 to 20, whatever, you have to be able to let your kids or let the kids decide where they want to go. And I think the government should be more helpful. Now, people are going to say, oh, right there, the government's involved again. How else are we going to support this? Because Lord knows we're giving money and we're funding things that are really stupid.
Well,
How about funding the kids?
And here's the other thing too. If the government doesn't step, a lot of people that I know, I spent the majority of my childhood going to a public school or a private school, actually. Because that's the situation that I was in. And I spent the last half of high school going to a public school. I would have rather gone to a public school my entire life than I would have a private school. I did not. They were essentially 2 grades ahead of everyone else of the public schools, and I was 4 behind. So you do the math on that and figure out where I was on everything else. Now I'm not dumb by any means. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but the way, and we touched on this before as well, the way that they train, the way that they teach is a generic way of teaching. It doesn't reach everyone. There are people left behind. I didn't understand but the majority of the things that they were talking about until I got into the hands-on situations, until I figured out, oh, well, I can do this because I can actually feel it. I can touch it. I can understand with that. If you're talking about using my head, that's no. I'm in radio, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in radio for a reason. I don't understand how to use my head. It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
And what's kind of interesting is that I'm very different than you are. I had no issues with school. I did the private and the public, and I was more comfortable in the private because of how that was structured. Okay.
Right.
And my brothers who followed behind me, some of them struggled, and I got to see both sides of it. And my sisters and my brother ahead of me went through public school, so I got a chance to see both sides. And here we both are. We intersect in radio, and you and I can coexist.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't use big words with you that you go, what?
Right.
I do. But then there are things that you're really smart at, that you're really good at because you see it differently than I do. It's just how it is. It's how we all are.
It is. And it's called being human. There's a way that everyone learns, but that's a problem that I'm saying. That's a problem that I'm having with the way school is being taught is they only teach one way. And there's probably 3 or 4 different ways that you should teach. If you see someone struggling, if you see that there's a student that is not picking up what you want, I mean, I went through all of these courses. I stayed after school. I did tutoring. I did I went to a third-party tutor. I did all this stuff, and it had nothing to do with me, with my brain power. It had everything to do with how I'm understanding it.
Yep.
And that's the problem I'm saying is that you didn't teach me the correct way. You didn't understand me. You didn't listen to me. You didn't care about how I was learning, about how I could learn. You just taught me the way that you were taught because that's how it is. It's like, well,
because the numbers are too big because they have 30 to 45 kids in a classroom.
Right.
So you teach to the majority, not the minority.
Exactly. So there are kids left behind no matter what you do.
We were talking about last hour, we were talking about politics. Okay. If you think about it, the politicians all speak the same freaking language, do they not? It's always the same stuff. The ads are all the same way because they're talking to you. It's all a fear. I'm going to scare you to vote for me. They don't want to have a discussion because someone like you and I might actually ask a question and go, no. You didn't answer the damn question.
Right.
Okay. Hold on, bucko. Let's get back to the question. No, you didn't answer the question. No, let's keep going back until you answer the damn question instead of you dancing around.
Right. It's like they were
done.
It's like they were taught how to dance because that's all they do around every question that they're asked. They just dance around it and they don't actually answer it.
Right.
Nice.
And that's true in all walks of life. I mean, think of the a-hole bosses we've worked for and whatever, and all of us have that. And we get bitch, and we don't do anything about it. That's the one thing that drives me crazy. People will bitch, but then don't take care of their own home. It's like a job is just a job. It's not who you are.
Right.
It's like because you talk about working in retail. A retail job is not who you are. It's just a job. That's it.
But I think everybody should work retail from about right now through Christmas, through the New Year, especially be required to work on freaking Black Friday.
Yeah.
That way, you'll understand life quite a bit more. You'll be a little bit more jaded, but at the same time, you will understand people more. You'll be more aware of your surroundings. The next time you go shopping, it doesn't matter where it's at, wherever it's at, you'll be more aware of how not to be an a-hole.
Right. Now, some people have said to me, "Oh, I have such a glorious life." Okay, you're in radio, you were in television. Let me tell you how many hours and back-to-back days I had to work on holidays.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't home on holidays. I had to work. I was low man on a totem pole, so I had to work like 24 non-hours right there on Christmas, Thanksgiving, every holiday I had to work.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone has to be there to run the station. Someone has to be there to for on-air news and things of that.
And it's not just during the day. I mean, most of the radio stations we worked for were 24/7 radio stations, which means there were overnight shifts, there were early morning shifts, there were late night shifts, all of those shifts. I've worked every single shift available. I know this for a fact that you have worked every single shift available in radio, and not just like, oh, I'll fill in for you. No, it was your job. It was your job. That's how you did it. That's how we did it. This is what we do. We work overnights, even though we have a day job. We had to work overnights at the radio station just to supplement all the other stuff we were doing.
Right. And people didn't care. They're like, "Oh no, you don't get extra pay. We're going to pay you less because you're on overnights."
Yep.
And before you go on, Steve, you're on a 6 to midnight shift, and then you're going to be on the midnight to 5, but you can't use the same name. Okay, you got to use a different name for that. It's like, what?
Do a little accent for us. Oh, all right.
You know, the last guy, that Steve guy in the last hour, man, I hate that guy. Didn't like what he was playing.
What a douche.
My name is Ben Stevenson this hour.
My name is Les BS. What?
Or Dr. Johnny Fever. Really? You had the same guy from the TV show? Yes. That is really.
That's right. That's how we
roll. There's no glory in all of this. And my whole point is, no job on this planet, no matter what you are, if you're an attorney, whatever, that's not who you are. It's just a job. It's just a job. I know enough attorneys, they hate their lives. They're bloody millionaires and hate their lives for X, Y, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, man, I'd really like to be poor. I'm like, I'd really like to be effing rich.
Right. Are you looking to adopt at all? Because I am available.
That's right. I realize that I'm older than you, but you can still adopt me. I'm adoptable.
It doesn't matter. I'll call you dad.
Which gets me to my next point. All right. Now here, or you might have seen it, and I wouldn't expect anybody to be reading any of this. Cumulus, one of the big media giants in the planet, is about to file bankruptcy protection again.
This is not. No, wait, hold on. This is not once, twice, or 3 times. That would be like, okay, I can understand that. No, this is like 5, I think, is where we're at right now. This is the 5th time that they've gone through an entire company. Now, okay, so hold on. So, for example, here's the thing. Some of you don't understand who Cumulus is. Cumulus is the direct competition. Well, yeah, we'll call it that. Direct competition to Clear Channel. Clear Channel is a big radio conglomerate. They own a bazillion stations. Clear Channel owns almost a bazillion stations.
Yeah, and that's iHeartRadio. If you didn't know that,
that's what it is. Yeah, iHeartRadio. Okay, now we can continue.
So with that, if you didn't know, radio stations are not run really well because 1, there's no margins, no this or that. People don't want to pay for radio. People are not listening to radio, which is absolutely false. People are listening to radio, but they're paying clowns like here in Chicago, a couple of million a year to talk for like 2 hours, which is unfriggin' believable. So get this. So Cumulus now files. So here in Chicago, I'll talk about Chicago here specifically. So they decide they're going to unplug some of the stations, mostly 80s, 90s stations here in Chicago. We started the 80s and 90s here for the other station I was working with here in this city. And now everybody all plays pretty much the same format. Everyone's playing 80s, 90s, and 2K and today and all that. And that's the things we started 12 years ago. Anyway, so what did they decide to do to unplug? And the reason why I got fired from so many places, they're like, you know what? We need a new format. The format is classic rap.
Yeah.
What the hell is classic rap?
So guess
But-
what? We can listen to Compton for 24/7, bitches.
But 6 months ago, it was something else. And 6 months before that, it was something else. So it's like, guys, come on. Stop. Just take a breath, spend a couple years on a station and go from there. I have seen stations change formats every 6 months. But I'll tell you that changing it from, let's say, classic rock or rock in general, or 80s, 90s, whatever it is, to 80s rap? What?
90s rap, not 80s, 90s rap. So they go hardcore.
Worse, which is even okay. All right. I'm why? Who decides, okay, guys, thank you all for sitting in this meeting today. We have a situation. Oh, what's the situation, Bob? Well, we've been going through the playlists and all this stuff. We've been following the charts. We've been doing all of this stuff. We found that the music that's playing right now, it's doing great. We're making money off of it. But we think we're ahead of the trends. I think 80s rap, 90s rap actually is going to come back in style. So I think we need to change all of our formats to 90s rap. Bob, you're a genius. I love it. That's why you get the six-figure income that you have acquired over the last 4 months. That's very good for you. I'm very happy with this. Let's do this. I don't understand.
Now, how we got to let me walk you through classic rock. Okay, how that came about. Classic rock originally was 70s music in 1995. Okay.
Classic.
Then classic music, we found out that Motley Crue was classic rock. That was the 80s. That's 2005. So now we're in 2017 and they're going, well, wait a second. Rap is 25 years old now. That is the new classic radio format.
But let me ask you this, and I think this is actually the reason, but I just want to see your take on this. Now, we being in radio, we kind of know how it works. We know the back end. We know how much money it costs to run a radio station. We know how much money it costs to spin this tune or this track, whatever you want to call it. Do you think that has any bearing on we're spinning all this new stuff? It's costing us millions of dollars a month. What if we go back to 90s rap that's going to cost us a third of what it's going to cost to run the popular stuff right now? Do you think that will save us money? Do you think that's kind of where they're getting their facts from?
Well, I hate to break it to everybody, but after 25 years, you don't have to pay the same rate for anything. That's why you get to watch all those HBO movies from 1988.
Right.
Because now I only have to pay $1 to air the damn thing, where I had to pay all these syndication rights to it.
I mean,
music goes the same way. Okay. So I'm just glad they're bringing back Coolio. That's all I care about. I hope he gets a TV show, because him and his one song is worth bringing back.
Listen, I don't even care if he sings. I just want to see his freaking weirdo hair. I was thinking about doing that for a while, because I was like, well, I mean, if he can do it, put that stuff on a white guy, it's over.
So when I heard they call it the new jams. So if you're in a major city, the new jams is coming. And if you hear an ad that goes, the new jams, okay, that's me doing the ad. Okay. They paid me a lot of money to say it is the new jams 104.3.
104.3. Yeah.
That's me. So, but they paid me. Okay. They went, we need the most obscure on-air guy, a white guy that thinks it's cool.
You should get Steve Benz. Who? Yes, let's get him.
Exactly. Listen to his candy ass.
That's right.
And they tune into the show. They go, who are these two clowns?
What is happening?
And they're going, we're in Montana listening to these two guys.
Right.
And it's a group of people sitting next to their moose, or is it mises? What do you call it? Multiple mooses?
It's not a flock, because then they would fly.
Right, the new band, the Flock of Mooses.
Flock of mooses. You know what? I'm going to look that up. The plural of moose. I don't know.
That's actually a good one. So that's where radio has gone and continues to go. Now, iHeart's has already filed what was earlier this year. So Cumulus, I don't know who's left.
Yeah, but iHeart has filed almost the same amount.
No, they've done more. They've done 9 filings.
There are 9 now? Holy cow.
iHeart. That's why they changed it to iHeart.
Wow.
So that, and yet the TV stations survive, which I don't know how. If you watch any TV station, they've got people that have been on like 25 and 30 years. And you go, oh my God, how are they still on television? Because no one watches television either.
Right.
So then you go on the apps and you watch the MTV guys. Alan Hunter, love him. Good friend of mine. But I just I can't believe people listen to you.
Ugh.
And yet they do. Oh, it brings back memories. Alan, you were only on for 4 years and only really on TV for 2.
Right. Yeah. It's like watching a rerun from 12 years ago that was only on for 2 years, but it was popular in those 2 years. Yep. But it was only on for 2 years. You're like, oh, that's really, or a one-hit wonder. Oh, that brings back so many memories. It's one song, people. Yep. It's one song. One freaking song. And they didn't do anything else. They didn't do anything before that. They didn't do anything after that.
And I know people are going to say, you know what? Rap sucks. Let's remind everybody, Eminem came out in the 90s, okay? And probably considered the greatest rapper of all time.
He's, arguably, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
And funny with it, could he drop. But this classic rap here, is really the street rap that you heard with Yo MTV.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Eminem goes. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on some of this classic rap type situation. Yeah. Because they still need ratings. They still need to be.
And you're going to pay for Eminem's music, okay?
Oh yeah. Yep.
You're going to pay. He's probably. I mean, how many artists from the 1990s were huge?
Hmm.
Nirvana was too short. I thought Foo Fighters were a little better, at least commercially.
Foo Fighters are still killing it, though. I mean, they still sell out arenas. They still do what they do. But I will tell you this. I do consider them commercial rock.
Yeah. So that's why they're very different between the two. So I guess you'd count Eminem, Nirvana. Who else is up there in the 90s? On either side, either rap or pop or whatever. Garth Brooks, was he 90s?
He was, yeah. He was 80s and 90s.
Yeah, so
I mean, he's still popular, which amazes me. I mean, he's a great writer. He's a great businessman as well, but still amazes me.
That's why we talk about businessman, we talked about school before. That's where the real knowledge comes from college and advancing your degrees and things for learning to manage bigger things in companies. That's where
I disagree with you on that. I think it comes from actual experience. I think it comes from actually doing it because I never learned anything in college how to do business. I took business classes, but the stuff that I learned was incredibly basic. And maybe it was because of a community college. I don't know. But I learned 10 times more in the real world actually taking risks and actually doing things than I did at school. I don't have any good things to say about school. Not that it's bad. I'm not saying that it's bad. If you need to go to school, by all means, please go to school, enjoy it. But for me personally, in my opinion, it was stupid.
I would agree on your side, but on the other side, I'd say you need to learn some of the different pieces of business. You have to have the business law and all this other stuff. And the only way you're going to learn it, and you can't learn that from Fred down the street. You just can't.
I've learned a lot from Fred.
Fred doesn't know anything about business law and contracts. So
Fred is a good guy. I know Fred, and he's a good guy. I learned a lot.
One person posted Billy Idol rocked the 90s. No, Billy Idol was the 80s. Okay, at least get the decades right.
No, snap.
What up? That's Snapchat, right? That we do. That's how it works, man. It is. All right, so I finally got that all off my chest. Now I know you wanted to talk about. You had another subject that was near and dear to your house. Was it Elon? Is that you wanted to talk about?
Yep.
So you know what? Should we take a break here? Tell you what. Let's take a really short break here and come back with that. All right. Fair enough.
Yep.
All right, so stay tuned wherever you are. We are just rocking through tonight's show. It is the Know Nothing Show. Steve and Eric will be right back. This is really short, so don't go anywhere. I promised that it was going to be short, and that's what we delivered. For all the stations that are listening nationwide, sorry, we're back already. It is the Know Nothing Show. Steve Benz, Eric Black. Just bring it to you like a legit
show should. I had to say that really slowly because I thought I was going to swear. I swear to God, I thought I was going to say the SH word.
You swear you were going to swear.
I do. That'd be a great lyric. I swear that I swore that I was swearing. Again,
wow. Well,
it's our album coming out. So, all right. So before we went to break, we were going to talk about, I interrupted you on Elon. I wanted to make sure that we had enough time for that subject matter. So my friend, take it away.
Well, here's the thing. All of us know Elon Musk. He is the inventor of the Tesla automobile industry. He also runs SpaceX, space exploration situation. Oh, did you see what I did there? Do you see how I did that? That's like classic rap right there. Huh? Bringing it back. Bringing it back. Here's the deal. Now, we all know him as a good guy. We all think he's somebody that could actually help us move forward. He wants to populate Mars. He wants to go to the moon. He wants to make sure that all of us are able to jump in a shuttle and circle the Earth within 30 minutes. He's developing the Hyperloop, which is something that goes around the Earth in a considerably short amount of time. What I'm saying is this dude is technology. He is on the front lines of any type of technology. He has everything at his fingertips. He is a rich dude. His companies are all over the market as far as being traded, having stocks, all of this stuff. We all know who Elon Musk is. If you don't know who Elon Musk is, why are you listening to this show? That seems weird that you wouldn't know about Elon Musk, but you know about the Know Nothing Show. To me, that's weird. Here's the thing. Knowing what we know about Elon Musk, if he ever decides to become evil, we're kind of screwed. This dude has access to a stupid amount of money, a stupid amount of power, a stupid amount of influence, and essentially he could bring humanity to our knees without doing really hardly anything. Like I said, he controls SpaceX. He has access to the most cutting edge rocketry technology on the planet. He also has a company that deals with AI technology, artificial intelligence. He is actually in charge of one of these companies as well. He did say, and this is something that has been in print. It's online. It's in video. It's on the internet. It's true. Was what I'm trying to tell you. But he says that he doesn't think that AI technology is good for humanity. He thinks that it's incredibly bad for humanity, saying that it's even worse than anything North Korea could throw at us. North Korea, not South Korea, who we are BFFs with, but North Korea, who we want to pound into the ground. The big bullies. Well, they're not actually a big bully. They can't actually do anything. They talk a lot of trash. They say a lot of things, but they're not actually. They are dumb. This guy, he has access to the most technology ever available in our current time period. Okay. And again, he creates and manufactures AI robots. Now, the question is, because Tesla is kind of the same thing. It's kind of an AI situation where it'll drive itself. It's connected to what we're going to call the mothership, or for those of you that have watched any type of Terminator movie, you're talking about a situation where he has access to shut off these cars. He has access to any type of technology that you could possibly think of. So if he takes control of your car, he could in turn tell it where to go. So it's essentially like Skynet. So if you're giving AI some sort of access to your life, that in turn could be a bad situation. And he himself says that that's not a good situation. So the question is, did Now, what we know currently of Elon Musk, he's a great guy. He's a great humanitarian. He donates a lot of money. He's only for the future. He's only for helping people. There's no cause for us to believe that he is an evil person. And I think that's how that starts. I think that's how that movie starts. That's how Terminator started. I think that's how that all goes. And I'm not saying Elon is an evil guy. That's not at all. We have no idea. So far, we think that he's a good guy. But what if he built a back door to all of these things that he's doing? What if he built a back door to the Tesla cars? What if he built a back door to his AI situation? What if he built a back door to his rocketry? By the way, he can actually kind of covertly disarm anything that would come at him if he brought a rocket back into the atmosphere, or if he launched a rocket out of the atmosphere. As far as what I've researched, nothing that our defense systems have in their arsenal could actually stop what he's doing. There's nothing there that could actually stop him from doing whatever he wants, other than laws against whatever it was that he would potentially do. But he still could push the trigger. He still could pull the trigger or push the button, or whatever it was he could do. So he has created essentially it's a brain interface of himself. So it's a copy of himself. Everything that he knows, he's made this whole like head thing that copies his wave, everything that he knows, he somehow copied into a digital form and made it into a interface which could actually connect to every computer in the world. That's weird.
Well, he wasn't the first to do that.
No. He was not the first one to do that, but he was the most successful person so far to date to do that. He has access to every single piece of information on the internet, as far as if he wanted to know who you were, within 20 seconds, he could know absolutely everything about you.
Yep.
But
he's not the only one that could do that.
No, he's not the only one that could do that, but he is the one with the
famous one.
He has the most access right now.
Right. So, and with him, just then, he's a South African, so he could never be president here. Because there are always rumors, how would you make him president here if you could? He openly said he is half Democrat, half Republican, which I think the majority of Americans are. We have beliefs and let's face it, when I was young, I was more liberal than I am now because I have more things to lose.
Right.
I have more people in my life that I'm trying to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as I get older, I have less filters. I tend to say more BS than anything else. I'm like, no, that's BS. I don't have time to be nice. I'm going to cut through the crap.
Right.
With that, the amount of money that this guy has and the technology, it's, he's just the next generation of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs just happened to be an a-hole about things.
Well, that's debatable, but yeah, I mean, he has a reputation of being that way. But if you want something to get done, I find myself, I'm in charge of people as well. And I find myself having to, what we'll call, lay down the hammer, and that's not a sexual term today. But you have to, you have to.
So
yeah, you have to do that every now and again. If you're in any type of leadership position and you want something done, especially in technology is going so fast and always has. You have to be on task. You have to make sure that you are on the cutting edge. And, that's one of the reasons why Steve Jobs did so well. Now, I don't think that's the same. I don't think Apple is the same since his passing. I think it has really changed, and I think it's actually digressing. They're actually I'm an Apple person, by the way. I love Apple. I love their interface. I love what they're doing. But as far as cutting edge technology, I don't think they're cutting edge technology. I think there are 3 or 4 other companies ahead of them that are doing that right now, and they're copying it, maybe making it better, or maybe just doing the same thing. But cutting edge, you'll have to sift through a lot of things to find proof of that.
Companies that are nimble. Apple is too big. Windows is too big. They're just marketing companies now. They're not about innovation. this guy, Elon, is about innovation and how do we go past as he keeps moving forward. I also think, I know that his, God, what year was that? I think he had a baby that died. That might be the driving force, or at least I think I read something that's a driving force of who he is that moment where there's nothing you could do about saving your own child. And it's like, how do I get things better?
Right.
I wish we were all like that.
Yeah.
But frankly, we all play defense.
Yeah.
Right? Life sucks. We're always trying to defend.
Well, and there's a lot of selfishness. America is built on selfishness. You know, it didn't used to be like that, but today everything is me, I. That's all it is. Everything is built on selfishness, and if it doesn't please you, it's not right.
Right. And it's probably always been like that. I just think, from my experience, Reaganomics is what triggered all of it. Is now it's about me, you know, how do I feel good about myself, and how am I going to feel better about myself is I'm going to blame you.
Right.
It's just kind of perpetuated itself. Hence why we have Twitter. It's like, I'm going to feel better ripping you.
Right.
And I'm going to do it by subtexting. Now, of course, people are going to say, subtexting, what's that? You need to look that. Okay.
Google. Oh, sorry. No, we can't say Google because that's trademarked. We have to say, search that on the interwebs.
Yeah.
That's
Screw that. But yeah, those are the rules. Them's be the rules. So I wonder how it'll be interesting to see what this guy does. He's fairly young, is he not?
He is. Yeah. He's I mean, he's on the verge of something amazing. I mean, he thinks that, and he doesn't just think. I mean, he's got proof behind it that he can actually colonize Mars by, I think, 2024 or something like that. He's 2020 is very, very closely approaching, which his goal, I think it is 2020, is to start building on Mars. I mean, he's got 3D things. He's going to take up there 3D to make stuff out of 3D molding or whatever. You know, things like that. He wants to colonize all of these planets. We've got so many things that are happening right now with technology in this particular situation. NASA is actually working with him as well. Now they're technically their competition, and now that NASA doesn't work for the government, for those of you that can't see what's happening, I put quotations around what I just said, because NASA will always work for the government. They are a government-run agency that's not going to stop, even though they have come out and said we are no longer doing space exploration. Somehow they're still launching rockets into this thing that we like to call, space. That's weird. I think it's like every 20 minutes now there's a rocket that goes up, either from NASA, from SpaceX, from, you know, there's three other companies that launch rockets as well. But about every 20 minutes a rocket goes up somewhere, which I think that's an amazing amount. How are there not crashes? How are people not colliding with each other up there? That seems like a large amount of rockets.
And I think we want the jets in life. And why aren't we experiencing that? And I think technology was already there. We probably could have put more people on Mars already. It's just how as a human could we survive on Mars?
Well, and I think there's a whole
anywhere else. So
there's a whole other situation. That's a whole other show that we can talk about. But I think we're already on the moon. I think we're already on Mars, and I think there's a couple other planets that we're already hanging out on. And maybe we're not alone. Maybe there are actually other entities that have been.
For us to think that we're alone is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. There's got to be, depending on how big this galaxy is, there's got to be something out there, or at least logic would tell us.
Well, and this is a subject that intrigues me. I don't know if I believe a lot of it, but nonetheless, it's very entertaining to me. I was reading something the other day that said that because a lot of the scientists that are dealing with space and space exploration believe that because it's so big that there is a copy of you somewhere else in the universe, in the galaxy, somewhere else there's a copy of you. And I immediately said, that sucks for a lot of people. For a lot of people, that sucks because I'm kind of a dick.
Now, when I was 13, I ran into my identical person.
Your doppelganger?
Yes. And I was like, what? That was like the weirdest moment of my life.
Have you had a chance to look them up recently and see
No.
where they're? You should do that. If you're listening, you should contact Mr. Steve.
If you're a fan of the show,
Fan of the show.
It's at the know nothing boys at gmail.com.
And they're probably like a drug addict, and they're listening to the show, and they're like, I don't even remember doing this. I don't know what's going on. When did I do this? I don't know. It was kind of weird for them.
Now, with all this exploration of technology
Mm-hmm.
that we are now at, this certainly gets us to Milwaukee. Okay.
Of course, because that's
because you see the tangent to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, because that is, we talked about government cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're talking about Wisconsin.
So you're saying that the correlation in this show is cheese and space trap. Space trap. Yeah, okay. All right.
And AI and all this other kind of stuff, it all converges somehow, some way in Wisconsin. Okay. I don't make this up. The show goes where the show goes.
I kind of think you do make it up every now and again.
So I need to read. It's hard for me to read this, but I'm going to read it. This is a headline from Milwaukee. Okay. Are you ready?
Here we go.
So in Milwaukee, the Sun, I'm reading this verbatim. Okay. I did not make this up. This, I think, comes from ABC News. So, right there, it's serious.
It's true.
The writer's name is David Foster, so I got to give him some props. When you're on radio, you got to give the props when they write this stuff. Okay? So here's an update. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The son of a Milwaukee funeral home owner was arrested on December 4th after he allegedly, I'm using those quotations there, okay, used limbs and several body parts from corpses at his father's business to make himself a customized sex doll.
Okay, so a couple questions. Is he familiar with how a body deteriorates after death? And two, I don't understand what I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, I understand that like a cold hand would be something different. It's literally a cold, dead hand, literally in every definition of that word.
Okay.
How?
So his beliefs are, well, from my understanding, he has very stiff beliefs in AI intelligence. Now, we talked about being able to buy a sex friend.
Sure.
That could vote. Did we not?
Well, yeah.
Some sort. Remember that discussion?
I'm assuming that they can vote because they are, in fact, a citizen. So if you are a citizen of any type of nation, I would assume if there is a voting situation that came up, you could in turn vote.
So this particular young man, and he's 38, so I guess he's not really young. Okay. So with that,
you better watch your mouth.
So where we talked about, okay, we were talking about Terminator, right?
Sure.
So now we've tied in another 80s movie called Weird Science.
Oh, yeah.
And a little bit of Frankenstein.
Oh.
So he's looking at Grandmama because she's got hot legs. And goes, I'll take that right femur. That looks rather delicious. Then you take Teresa over there because she was a fine specimen in a size 4, whatever that means.
Sure.
But not really tall enough.
What about Clarice? Are we going to use Clarice?
where he liked to live in a fine Chianti. All right, so this guy really, if they were already dead, he's just making a doll and bringing it back to life potentially.
I don't that's the part that I don't understand what he's actually doing. He's making so he's sewing all of these parts together, embalmed parts together. Now, is he putting any type of electronics in it? Is he putting any type of AI in it? What is he? Because it's not going to last long. It's embalmed.
Well, no, it will last long because it's embalmed.
No, because it still deteriorates. He's got about maybe.
Yeah, but it's going to take him like 100 years.
No.
Yes.
100 years, maybe 4 months, maybe.
No.
Yeah.
You are wrong, my friend.
No.
Someone, a funeral director of some sort, on this show.
Listen,
we can ask those questions.
If he is underneath the ground in a coffin, yes, maybe 100 years. No. He is in open air, my friend. Open air, embalming or not, it's not going to last that long.
Hold on. First of all, let me throw this at you. He could saran wrap, freeze in a nice one of those resealable bags right there, the limbs, pull out all the air, put it in the freezer right there next to some roast beef.
So then he's going to wait like 8 hours for it to thaw before he can actually use it? Is that what you're telling me?
You put it in it'll defrost faster. I'm telling you. It will be efficient.
When I want to use it, I want to use it right now.
So I guess how they found all this is they found one of his saws he was using to cut off the limbs, and they exhumed the bodies for the evidence for that.
Okay.
But perhaps he had the foresight to maybe put in some, shock them, bring them back to life. The Borg, turn them into the Borg of some sort. We can rebuild you. I can make you smarter. I could make you my wife. All 27 pieces of you.
Wow. Random 27 pieces from 37 bodies.
And I'm just surprised that his parents were surprised by all of this.
Yeah, that to me, how could you not see that coming? Well, probably poor choice of phrasing. But how could you not? How could you not?
Hilarious. I like that. But I'm just saying right there, weird science. We've now done some Terminator stuff. It's all coming, my friend. Elon, my friend, we want to bring people. We want to build people. We want to rebuild them like cars. We can rebuild you.
What if that person doesn't want to be rebuilt? Like when I'm dead, I just leave me. I had enough freaking problems. I didn't like anyone while I was alive, let alone being brought back to life. Now I got to like these a-holes all over again? Come on.
Yeah.
That's what Frankenstein was about. He's like, dude, I was fine being dead. Now you brought me back and I got to do this all over again? You're an a-hole. I hate you.
Didn't make him grumpy pretty often, you know. So.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm saying that's what's happening. There's a technology. He could run his new sex doll through an app. Right there. I think so. I think that'll work. Or, to keep her fresh, he can get one of those new Frigidaire stand-up, refrigerators, and she could just stand in there all night.
I feel like there needs to be some sort of cryogenically frozen situation happening in order for this to really work long term, because I've thawed meat out and I forgot about it once or twice. It didn't turn out the way that I was hoping that it would turn out.
But I think it's worth trying, and maybe, just maybe, we can get this gentleman on the show. His name is Stephen Adams. Stephen, if you're listening from prison, we are available.
We're here for you, buddy. Right after Colin Kaepernick, you have to proceed. You have to go right. No, sorry, you have to go right after Colin Kaepernick interview. But we'll take you. You come on board, buddy.
I think that's acceptable because Lord knows In the Wisconsin prisons, I'm sure he's having enough cheese as well.
Which is government cheese, for those of you not following along.
Which is our new sponsor, Kraft Macaroni and Cheese. They are the cheesiest.
It's not Kraft, it's crap. Yeah, crap, because it's government cheese.
And yet, our potential sponsor.
Which is fun.
You can watch our new video of us eating Kraft government cheese.
Government.
With macaroni. Macaroni and government cheese.
That's right. All the BS, half the pronunciation.
So I just think the police officers on this particular thing, they thought maybe he was part of a satanic, cult of some sort. So maybe there are others doing the same thing.
All I'm saying is if there's one, there's probably somebody else somewhere.
Of course there is.
Yeah.
Of course there's going to be more. It's America.
It kind of reminds me of a Dexter situation.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he didn't actually make any type of sex doll, but he did randomly kill bad people. And that's a hard line. That's a hard line too. Like, is it okay to kill bad people if you're a vigilante and you decide that you want to kill somebody that's bad, like mafia type people? Which, by the way, not all mafia people are bad. Just so we're all clear on that. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know.
Although we could probably think of some dead people that we'd like to bring back, though.
Yeah. Yeah, like William Hung's career. That'd
Look,
be all right.
Billy Hung should not be messed with. 400,000 CDs strong. Okay?
Out of sympathy doesn't count.
Doesn't matter. Now he's a motivational speaker. Okay?
How is he a motivational speaker?
Because he came from whatever and has made it big.
He has not made it big.
He has.
No,
I actually interviewed him and I couldn't play it. The interview was so bad.
See?
Okay.
There you go.
Because he didn't want to talk about his CD. And I'm going, dude, without it, we're not talking.
You're just William. You're not even Hung. You're just William.
We should get him on, though. He would be good for this show. The ratings would be astronomical.
If we can get him on the show, Jerry, where are you at, buddy? If we can get William Hung on this show, great.
We got to get him on video too. He can't be calling in. We need to see him.
No, we need to see him
because he's an inspiration for all slow people.
And I will not. I can't say that. I was going to say I will not make fun of him. I can't say that. That's not. I can't justly say that. That's not going to happen.
Well, I will have to have some type of buzzer to stop you from making fun of him because that would just be inappropriate to make fun of a guest.
Yeah, but it'd be so much fun. So much fun.
Perhaps we can get him to sing live on the show.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Because maybe, just maybe, he will sound better than your band, Black.
Black? I don't know. He's going to be opening for us pretty soon. So
you're going to be opening for William Hung. Okay.
Yeah.
He'll be selling out arenas.
He's not selling out anything right now.
People will be buying his T-shirts instead of buying ours.
They'll be buying his T-shirts because I will be printing off knockoffs outside of his show. I'll be selling those for $20.
That's right. Oh, that'd be too funny. But I do think if he comes on this show, I believe you must sing along to She Bangs, She Bangs. And that gets us back to the funeral parlor guy.
Right.
Okay?
Right. If he comes on this show, now I can't do it now. Okay. But if he does come on this show, I'm not doing it in the Ricky Martin form. I'm doing it in the William Hung form. And I will, if he comes on this show, you can quote me on this. I'll do it. I'll make it happen.
I think Jerry behind, the banners here will do it.
Which, by the way, we should probably just send him this because he's probably not even listening to the show right now. He's what a douche. Anyway, we'll see because I just called him a douche. So we'll see tomorrow morning if he calls us into the office. We'll see how that works.
Listens to the show. He'll be like, you know what? Thumbs up on the show last night, guys.
Yo,
Great,
guys.
astronomical.
Great show, guys. He's a very how do you say that? He's an interesting character, I guess is what we'll call him.
Well, he does have a lot of degrees on the wall, so I don't know why you would do that. Put pictures of him there. So
no deodorants. It says degree deodorant on it, and he puts them in frames. It's like I don't know. It's weird.
These 2 hours have flown by. I cannot believe we're at the end of the show already. So
I know it's crazy.
It's time for us to say goodbye. And I did see Carol Burnett's 50th anniversary for her show, so she was like pulling all that to her aunt or grandmother, whoever it is. So that's where we're at.
Right.
And we're coming up on the end of our second year.
Which is weird. And we actually have a website going on. I didn't think we'd have that going on yet, but we do. Yeah. We're a big deal. We got a website. We got social media. We got videos. It's crazy. It's real crazy.
Craziness. You got to spread the word, everybody. Go to the KnowNothingShow.com. See all the latest information. Plus, check out our merchandise. Every dollar spent there goes to producing the show. None of it goes us. It all goes to the show and all of our affiliates. So, Eric, it's time for us to say goodbye to all our company. MIKEYMOOSE. We are out of here. Thank you for joining us. See us next week. For the rest of our crew, not doing any work, I'm Steve Benz. He's Eric Black. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.